Good morning. I wanted to talk a little bit about my automated response to peer pressure and why. I don't know, I figure someone could probably learn from this. So, we all know those people that are always telling you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do. Well, the very first thing I do when somebody tells me that I got to do something, my automatic response is no, I don't. There's a reason why. They say that, somebody's life experiences shape who they are, and that is absolutely true. And it is those things, those life experiences, that taught me to resist at all costs, to resist peer pressure. Let me tell you why. Many, 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 many moons ago, I was, well, in some ways not so bright. And I had friends that were, well, not as bright as me. and one of those friends and I had come up with this grand scheme to go into our prior school, which would have been the junior high, and, just leave the place a little bit of a mess. Just like a practical joke. I think it was like Labor Day or something, and so there was no school. So him and I went to the school, and we're outside the school. We're the dumbest people you could imagine. Why do I say that? Because we ran into a janitor when we were there, and I think we ran into a teacher while we were there, outside the building, right? And so we managed to get in the building, in which we just did a bunch of stupid stuff. We didn't do anything drastic. We didn't burn the school down. We didn't do anything crazy or anything like that. One of the things that was popular for kids just to hang their lock from their locker and not actually lock it. Yeah, I don't know. But that was the end thing to do at the time. So, well, naturally we would have to take locks, put them on other people's lockers and lock them, right? Naturally, that's what you do in that case. And there was other little stupid stuff that we did. Nonetheless, that didn't make it not illegal, just because it wasn't that bad. So we obviously got caught, and I had to spend 40 hours community service to pay for my deeds. But I learned something much, much more valuable than why you don't want to break into a school and leave it a mess. I learned why it's important at all costs to reject peer pressure. Now, why? Because we were standing outside that school, and this was after running into the janitor, after running into the teacher. We were standing outside of that school trying to figure out how we're going to get inside that school, and I started having second thoughts. This just didn't seem too bright anymore, especially after already seeing people. Well, back then, at that point in time in my life, Ozzy Osbourne was my idol. No two ways about it. And my buddy Scott said to me one thing, because I was, debating, not wanting to do it and all that. Scott said to me one thing. What would Ozzy do? What would Ozzy say? That's all it took. I was on board. Full-fledged. Those words didn't change the situation. Those words only changed my feelings, my emotions, my thoughts about the situation. But it did not indeed change the situation. We were still just as stupid for doing it, with or without that added tidbit. So now it's an automatic response for me. That when somebody says, well, you got to do something or do this because this does it, or anything in the direction and the realm of peer pressure, it ain't going to cut it with me. And I will reject it just right off the top. There's a lot of quirks about me that people don't get, people don't understand, and that's fine. I don't expect them to. I don't expect anybody to. I don't expect you to live how I live. I don't expect you to learn how I learn. I don't expect you to do anything that I do. But on the same token, I won't be expected to do things that other people do. Just because, well, everybody does it. In fact, there's a very high chance that you see anything that everybody does, and I'm going to be doing something the opposite direction. It's just what it is. I mean, yeah, our life experiences truly do shape who we are. I learned that lesson of peer pressure and what it can get you into. Plain and simple. So, I don't know. Father just put it on me to have this discussion. Hopefully someone can learn from it. Look, this travels well into our adult lives, folks. This, there's a whole lot of people that are going out and buying all kinds of stuff because other people are promoting it or buying it or using it or what have you. There's a whole lot of those cases to where that equipment that the people are buying are not the ideal items for those particular people. But they do it anyway. Why? Peer pressure. Did it help them? No. Could it hurt them? Absolutely. That's why it's important. You have to, you are the one that makes the decisions for your life. Plain and simple. It's like a pilot in charge of a plane. That pilot is given every single bit of responsibility. That could either work in your behalf or not. Look, folks, just be wise. Be discerning. Use common sense. And don't give in to peer pressure. Because oftentimes there are many, many, many people lying in wait to capitalize on those people that give in to peer pressure. I'll leave it at that. There's a lot of peer pressure going on right now in society with this human trafficking stuff, and even some YouTube channels that are trying to do a lot of pressuring to get people to open their wallets up. Folks, you cannot be working with the same team that you're fighting. You can't. You cannot. Do you realize that there's a number of different protection programs around the nation? Probably not, huh? Well, there is. Do you know what the one thing in common is of all of those protection agencies? There are no government connections. You know why that is? Right. See? Peer pressure can even get people to think funny. Don't let that happen. Shalom.